True Score Gaming back with another episode of SnowRunner Hard Mode. We last left off with the P16 going overboard in Drummond Island. Well, after giving it a lot of thought, at this point, I can really only think of one truck that might be up to the task of pulling this off. After a series of bad luck in the beautiful Isle of Drummond, we were forced to stage another rescue, now with the twin steer. At this point, we should just build another garage in this zone. After arriving to the location with the P16, come to find out the twin steer is still not powerful enough to winch the Pacific free. I tried various different methods throughout the daylight hours of the game, burning a lot of fuel. Finally, after throwing everything at the situation, I came up with the idea that I would repair the engine on the P16 in hopes that it would run long enough for it to reverse itself over the rocks with the help of the twin steer. It actually worked, some sort of a reverse winch job. I don't know what else to call it, where I was lucky enough to use the engine power of the P16 to free it from its watery grave. Now, where were we? Oh yeah, trying to complete some of these tasks to pay for all that downtime and fuel. Drummond Island only has a handful of tasks, and we can use the P16 to complete most of what's needed to repair the third and final bridge. But first, I decided to explore the rest of the map using the Scout. Near the 10 hut task, I pick up the second and final upgrade in Drummond Island. This one is an engine upgrade which I can use on the P16. The Scout tasks on Drummond vary in difficulty from easy to impossible. There's like no in between. Tourist attraction just requires driving to the little island across from the fuel station. Nice and easy. Forged by the Sea has you hitting the mud trails to catch a glimpse of the spot that will be seared into your memory forever once you have done the contract here much later on. Then there's Silent Observer, which isn't all too bad until you reach the final incline. And then you really have to watch your tire placement, otherwise you'll end up like me on the first attempt. We'll come back for this truck later. In the meantime, let's switch gears over to the P16 and the task called 10 Hut. This is the best paying task on the island, which involves repairing the final bridge. It pays $6,000 and most of the cargo can be found nearby. It will show up on your map like this preloaded trailer with metal beams and concrete slab. Dropping this load off will complete the first stage of the task, and we will just need another metal beam and concrete block this time to complete it. The metal beam is right around the corner near the task location, which we can drop off right away. The concrete block will have to come from just outside the gateway into Smithville Dam, where there is a warehouse. This is also where I am gathering all of the empty trailers I have left over. I will use them in later contracts to transport cargo from the warehouse. I switch over to the Fleet Star to complete the 10 hut task, since the very next job we will do afterwards requires a crane. Throughout this time, I have been focused on completing easy tasks, and that will continue as we finish exploring Drummond Island and head into Island Lake to repair the bridges in that area. But we have reached a major milestone by hitting rank 9, and we can look into upgrading our tires, which will make things easier as we start to look at expansion into other regions and completion of the major contracts. We have also reached another milestone, which is to accrue $50,000 and still have some easy tasks ahead of us. Lost cargo is a task that will require the crane, and there's 3 cargo trailers that need to be found throughout the map and brought back to the task giver. The task is quite simple, and the best way to do it is to start with the trailer that is furthest away and work your way back in to reduce the amount of backtracking you have to do. So I brought the first trailer over to the gas station and unloaded it there so that I could bring the nearby trailer to the same location. Then I winched the second trailer behind me all the way to the drop-off point, which worked out pretty well. That just leaves the final trailer near the drop-off point to recover and complete this task. There is one final task on Drummond Island that requires a truck and crane. The task is called Cousin Cletus and requires the recovery of some fuel barrels. Unfortunately, one of the fuel barrels is just out of reach for the small crane, so we will have to come back to this one on a different trip to Drummond Island, after we have purchased the large crane add-on. That brings us back to the rescue of our scout truck, which had an accident while doing the silent observer task. I brought in the other CK-1500 in our fleet and set out for the rescue. There were no issues other than the time that it took to get up here, and we had our truck back up on all 4 tires in no time, so we could complete this task. The final task for our scout truck is called mud wrestling and is the most time consuming. There's nothing really too difficult about it. You just need to recover the Scout 800 using a narrow path which only a scout vehicle can get onto. I used both scout trucks that I had to position the Scout 800, going up the steep incline and then through the mud, but like I said, it's just time consuming. Believe me, I tried to get a larger truck in there as evidenced by the Fleet Star wedged in between these two trees here, but don't worry, I ended up safely recovering the Fleet Star without too much difficulty. Completing the mud wrestling task will net you another $1,200 in cash, and we will be finishing up our trip here on Drummond Island with a balance just over $54,000. Here's a recap of all the tasks that we have completed on Drummond and our current profile balance. We're going to get these vehicles back to the garage while the CK1500 and Pacific P16 make their way into Island Lake. I hope you enjoyed this episode of SnowRunner Hard Mode. Be sure to hit the like button and leave a comment below to keep this series going strong. Subscribe to my channel today so that you never miss a video, and I'll see you on the next adventure.